Welcome back everyone to another art lesson. Today we are going to do an artwork based on the four seasons, which sadly we do not experience in Malaysia, but nevertheless we can still use our imagination, right? To paint our four seasons, you need to divide your art paper into four pieces. So just measure the length and height of your paper and divide it into two, and just draw a line across to make four sections. As for the tools that we're going to use today, we are going to use paint and also some of the things that we have used for our abstract artwork, like bubble wrap, cotton, old toothbrush, fork, even cotton earbuds. So first things first, while your paper is in portrait orientation, you're going to draw a ground at the bottom of the paper. Then you're going to draw a tree trunk that comes from the bottom and goes to the top. I'm going to draw some majestic branches coming out from the tree trunk. Don't worry about getting the branches perfect, because later on when you start painting the background, you are going to end up covering a lot of the branches anyway. So don't bother about making your drawing perfect, just lightly draft out the position of the branches. Since we are going to do four seasons, which is the spring, summer, autumn and winter, you need to spend some time to think about what kind of color scheme you want for the sky that would fit the season. But before that, I'm just going to draw a light circle around the tree because I want my sky to have gradient that is going from dark to light from the outside to the inside. And the circle would act as a guide for when I start painting. This would make sure that I am painting the dark colors on the outside, and as I go inwards towards the tree, I go lighter and lighter. As you can see here, I've chosen purple and blue for my spring. A tip to get realistic sky color is to add white to whatever colors that you are mixing. Also, another tip, stick to analogous colors. And as we have discussed last time, analogous colors are colors that are right next to each other. So purple and blue, they blend quite well. You can see here when I'm painting, I'm not really fussing about where the branches are, because later on I know I can still draw them back. And towards the inside, you can see here, I'm adding more white to make it lighter. For summer, I am going with blue and a very light turquoise. I made this turquoise by mixing blue with a tiny bit of green and a lot of white. And when you're painting, you want to make sure to always blend your colors properly so that the gradient is smooth. Next one, I'm going to work on the winter. Your color sky does not necessarily have to follow mine. You can think about what kind of colors would suit each season. If spring for you reminds you of flowers and blossoms, your sky could be colors that relate to flowers, meaning a pink-yellow sky. For summer, it may be very hot, so you want maybe a yellowish sky. So my point is, you don't have to follow the color scheme that I am using for my skies. But you do want to make sure you are using dark and light colors. And also, of course, always add white to your sky. It just makes everything look a bit more natural. Just remember to add that white. Okay, I'm done with the skies. I'm just going to move on to the ground. For the ground, I'm using an earbud to dot on different shades of blue to create the snow piles. If you don't have a cotton earbud, you can use the back of a pencil or a brush. For the ground on the autumn side, I'm using the aluminium foil to create leaves textures that have fallen to the ground. You don't have to follow the technique I'm using. You can use, bubble wrap or toothbrush. Just, make use of any kind of techniques you have used in your abstract work. Okay, I have a pipe cleaner here. I'm going to use it to create some snowfall in the winter side. So I will just put some white on top of the pipe cleaner and just scratch on the blue. Then also I'll just do some flickering using the toothbrush. Then I'll add some fallen leaves for the autumn side, just to make the background a bit more interesting. I use different shades of brown and orange for the leaves to show some leaves that are in front and some that are far behind. That would help add dimension to your painting. Then I added some birds in the summer area. And I'm done with my background. So now it's time to paint my tree. So for my tree, I have prepared dark, medium, and light brown. I'm gonna paint a base layer on the tree first before I do any kind of rendering or shading using dark brown or light brown. You want to use a small brush, especially when you're painting the branches, because we want the branch to be going from thick to thin at the edge. When I'm done with the base layer, I'll just go in and use a light brown to draw in the wooden texture on the tree trunk. I'll also use a dark brown to add shadow to the roots and also to basically anywhere that needs shadow. You can always look at the reference picture when you're painting your tree. Okay, once your tree is done, then you can start using the various techniques to fill in your leaves or your flowers. I'm going to use a sponge for my summer leaves. You want to use the darkest green first and then slowly layer on with a lighter green on top of the dark green. This would help create that 3D form instantly because of the value difference. Next, for my spring, I tried using a brush and dabbing on the red paint, but it wasn't really nice. So I changed to another brush, and as you can see, the bristles are all opened up, and that is perfect for getting that small dots. So I just need to keep on dabbing and dabbing and dabbing. Again, I'm using the darkest color first, then I'm layering on top using a pink just to make it look more 3D. And then lastly, the lightest color, yellow, to give it highlight. I'm also adding some snow pile on the branches in the winter area and some leaf piles in the autumn area. But I think the leaves aren't really working. Final touches, had some blossoms flying around in spring, and I think I am done. So I hope you enjoyed this 4-season lesson.